I won!
That's a good play!
Since 1974, the Rhode Island Lottery has paid over $57 billion in prizes and contributed over $8 billion to Rhode Island's general fund. Your Rhode Island Lottery, a good play for 50 years and counting.
The calendar has flipped to August, and you know what that means. It's officially time for playoff baseball in the 2024 NECBL season. The regular season, a thing of the past. The Newport Gulls, one of 8 teams that remain in the chase for the Fay Vincent Senior Trophy. We're almost ready for Game 1 of the playoffs between the Gulls and the Valley Blue Sox in what will be the 2-7 matchup in the first round in a best-of-3 series. But before first pitch later on tonight, we've got a whole lot coming up on the Gulls pregame show. Welcome into a sunny Cardines Field. I'm Sam Reese. We have plenty of great interviews coming your way as the Gulls are on their quest to defend their title from last season, and it all starts tonight in Game 1 of the playoffs. We're back here on the Newport Gulls pregame show at a sunny Cardines Field. I'm Sam Reese, now joined by the general manager and president of the Newport Gulls in Chuck Pava. And Chuck, it's playoff season. Calendars flip to August. This is what you and everyone else has been building up to. Can you sense the excitement, and how thrilled are you to get this postseason run going as the Gulls try to win back-to-back titles?
It's very special. Anytime you make a playoff series, you know, this baseball team that we have here has been successful in that regard. I think there's probably only 2 seasons that we didn't make the playoffs in our history.
Correct.
But it's always special. Every year is a different group of guys grinding and fighting for this opportunity, and you get to this point of the season, it's really on these guys. It's their season now. It's not about any of us. It's these young men have worked hard all summer for this opportunity. Now it's them, and it's exciting.
Right. I think we're all excited for Game 1 of this first-round series against Valley tonight with postseason baseball here at Cardines. I'm sure it never gets old for you as well. Focusing on how this season has played out so far, 27-16 record, good enough for the number 2 seed in these playoffs. I know, talking to you, earlier in the month of July, you talked about it, and there's no secret about it, that there's been, despite securing that number 2 seed, plenty of adversity this team's faced just in terms of losing arms, in particular with the pitching, and you guys have had to kind of overcome that due to a variety of reasons with guys leaving. So how do you think the players have kind of dealt with that adversity and having a more thin roster than a lot of the other teams in the league?
Well, cream rises to the top, and these guys realizing that they've lost guys, that only means other guys have to step up. Other guys will have opportunity to step up, and they need to take advantage of that. And that's what some of these kids are doing right now. Some of the pitchers who perhaps didn't get as many innings early on are stepping up and taking advantage of the opportunity they have and getting it done. So I'm not pleasantly surprised, but I'm pleasantly happy to see these kids have success, and especially now this time of the year, it's when it matters most.
Yeah.
When you see some of these guys getting out there and grinding like they do, it's just impressive, and I'm excited for them, quite frankly. Yeah.
Absolutely. And how big do you think it is, Chuck, that last regular season game was on Tuesday afternoon, and then the team didn't have to make that Vermont trip, so had a whole off day yesterday to kind of recalibrate and get ready for hopefully what's a playoff run, which can be grueling in the postseason?
You're absolutely right. Not only was that game canceled yesterday, which is obviously helpful, but the other game was just a 7-inning game, which also makes a big difference at this time of the year. It allowed us to rest guys. Yesterday was a day off. We got together as a team. We had lunch together. The boys are excited and ready to get after it. Yeah.
Love to hear that. And one more question for you. You started with 5 returners on this team, 4 with the unfortunate, departure of Adam Marr due to that injury. But how big do you think that is, having guys like a Nico Brini, a Tyler Hare, Jake Burley, the list goes on and on. How big is it to have those guys who were part of that championship team last season, knowing what it takes to kind of be those veteran leaders and let the guys know kind of what it takes at this time of the year to get it done?
Sam, that's a good question. It's immeasurable, really, to have those guys come back here and show what it takes to grind at this time of the year. And you see guys like Brini just playing hard, running hard down the base paths, you see Burley and Hare. That just sets an example for everybody else. That's how you play the game. You play the game the right way this time of the year. You play the game to win, and they lead by example. Great leaders, and that's important in summer baseball, especially with young kids. But everyone's here now. They're a group. They're a unit. They're bonded well together. They're a really close team. And that's important this time of the year. Most of the teams that have had success for us in the playoffs are teams that were close at the end. And these guys are close, so hopefully that they have enough bullets to take them where they need to go.
Right, and more so than the talent on the field sometimes. It's about that camaraderie and chemistry the team has, with which Chuck Pava says this team definitely possesses as they attempt to go on a postseason run and make it back-to-back NECBL titles. The quest to do that starts tonight against Valley. Chuck Pava, we really appreciate the time as always, and we'll be back in a moment with more on the Gulls pregame show. We've got a lot more coming your way next.
Welcome back to the Newport Gulls pregame show. I'm Riley Daniel, joined by the NECBL's batting champion, Dixon Williams. Dixon, how are you today?
Doing good. How are you?
What does it feel personally to have that on your resume now, to be the champion of batting of this prestigious summer league?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. Obviously, not something you're like aiming for every game, like, oh, I got to be the batting average champ, but just trying to put good swings on the ball every time I'm in there, and it worked out for me.
Speaking of things that we are aiming for, we heard Chuck mention the hustle, the little things that determine a champion. It seems every time you put a ball in play, every time you're on the bases, you're looking to just do that little bit extra. What is it that inspires you on the base paths to always go and try and get those extra bases?
Yeah, it's been instilled in me from a young age to play the game hard, and that's the only way I know how to play it, and I think that's the right way to play the game.
You had a couple days off last week, came back against Mystic, and it seems that if you hadn't missed a beat, came back, just hitting the ball really well. What's the mentality at the plate going into this postseason, the way you're swinging the bat right now?
Yeah, just trying to put quality bats together for the team, hit a ball hard, or if I need to take a walk and pass it on to the next guy, just whatever it takes, this playoff run.
We've seen you switch your spot in the batting order a little bit, from 5, now up to 4, sometimes at 3. How do you change your approach, or do you change your approach when you're in a different spot in the batting order?
Usually the same thing. Maybe have more runners on in those being in that order of the count. But when I have runners on, I mean, that's the best time. You just get to do damage and shrinks the field a little bit. So I love it.
You're someone who has a lot of experience in his collegiate career in postseason play, made it to the championship of the American Conference, made it to 2 regionals in your 2 years at ECU. How does that impact you? How does that help you get ready for this run for the Fay Vincent Senior Cup?
Yeah, postseason baseball is a little different. You're going to get everybody's best. Everybody's playing hard, but I think if you play that way the whole time and you treat it like a regular game, like you've been playing the whole time, it all works out for you.
Well, it's worked out really well for Dixon so far this year. Tune in at 6:35 to see how it turns out today. But before we do that, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, the Newport Gulls pregame show rolls on.
We're back on the Newport Gulls pregame show ahead of playoff game day, I should say, as the Gulls get set to take on the Blue Sox in Game 1 of this first-round best-of-3 series. I'm Sam Reese, now joined by Andrew Duncan. Andrew, I can see that smile on your face to get through, I'm sure, grueling parts of the regular season and now get ready for the most important part, the postseason. That's got to be very exciting as the competitor that you are.
No, absolutely. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I wanted to ask you, Andrew, because you came here to Newport, you were hot right away, and then you'd probably be the first one to say that maybe at certain points in early July, you became a little frustrated. Batters are going to have their ups and downs.
Absolutely.
But then as of late, you've been getting back into a groove and getting momentum back on your side at the plate.
Yep.
What does it take for you from a mental perspective, just trusting yourself even through those stretches where you might not be performing the way you want and struggling, and just trusting your abilities?
It's just about gaining confidence and believing in yourself. Not a lot of people are like this, but I want to just say thank you to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because I wouldn't have gotten the confidence back without him, and he helped me kind of get back in that way that, okay, like, you got this, like, you've been doing this your whole life, so go out there and just get after it.
Definitely. And What also have you learned over the course of the summer from hitting coach Ted Regan? Because I saw a few games over the last few weeks. You were kind of here earlier than everyone else, kind of going over some stuff with him, just practicing that swing. Has that helped you in a big way as well?
To be honest, it's just got my mind off of all the other things that have been happening, and it's just getting your mind to think about something else. But he's helped me a lot, trying to stay on that backside, maybe, and drive the ball the other way. So, it's been fun.
Definitely. And also to have teammates like, Nico Brini, Tyler Hare, who I'm looking at right now, Jake Burley, Cade Shatwell, all guys who were part of that championship winning team last year and know what it takes. How big is it to have kind of their veteran leadership at this time of the year as well, where you guys are trying to win it all and they know what it takes here in Newport?
It's nice having those guys behind you, especially when, you guys got that can hit the ball real far and throw about 95 off the mound. So, it's good to have those guys behind your backs. It makes the game a lot easier. So, it's fun having them around, that's for sure.
All right, thanks so much for the time, Andrew. Good luck tonight and in this postseason as the Gulls try to make it back-to-back NECBL titles, and the quest for the Fay Vincent Cup trophy begins tonight. We'll be back in a moment on the Gulls pregame show with more. Stay tuned.
As the Gulls begin their postseason journey towards Fay Vincent Senior Cup number 8 tonight, I figured it's a good time to talk to the guy who led them on their journey to number 7 last year. I'm here with Wofford outfielder Tyler Hare. Tyler, how are you doing today?
Doing good. How about yourself, Riley?
All right, let's walk through that at-bat, that one against Bristol last year, the one that really cemented that another number was going up on a banner.
Yeah, it was the first pitch off speed, I believe, and went over the fence. It was a great head start for us last year, and if we make it there, hopefully we can do the same thing.
Well, you might not even have to make it to the championship game. Could end up seeing Bristol earlier than that. But let's talk about your role kind of on this team, because it seems like every time we interview someone, especially someone who's a first-year Gull, they speak to you, they speak to Jake Burley, and how you've been an influence on them here in Newport.
Yeah, I mean, Jake and I and all the other returners, we just try to instill the standard of the Gulls organization. It's a fantastic program we got going on over here. We got a good team. We got a really good tight-knit group that we think we can go all the way with. And so if we stay together, hopefully we make it to the promised land.
Speaking of kind of journeys that end up in the promised land, it seems as if you've kind of shown some unique positional versatility this year, moving to first base, playing in the outfield. How do you adapt positionally to being able to play multiple positions on a coach's decisions notice?
Well, it's all about just being available wherever you can be available. Swiss Army knife type of guy. If you can do that, you can play any position on the field. It doesn't really matter. Just being a team guy is the biggest thing in my opinion, and just going out there wherever the team needs you.
Speaking of being a team guy, I got a great stat for you, Tyler. In games in which you have a hit this year, the Gulls record, you want to guess it?
What is it?
18-4.
Oh.
So if you see a hit from Tyler here tonight, good things are bound to happen for the Gulls. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, the Gulls pregame show rolls right on.
Back on the Newport Gulls pregame show,
Yes.
We're wrapping things up and getting ready for first pitch, which is just around the corner between the Gulls and the Blue Sox. It's game 1 of round 1 in a best-of-3 series, the 2-7 matchup, as Newport begins their quest for the Fay Vincent Senior Cup, trying to make it back-to-back NECBL titles. It's a hot one here at Cardines Field. The crowd will be lively. It'll be a packed house, but if you can't make it to the game and want to watch the action, you can do so over on ESPN+. That's where the broadcast will be for tonight's game. 6:30 on the air, 6:35 first pitch. But for now, that's a wrap here on the Newport Gulls pregame show. I'm Sam Reese. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in.
I won!
That's a good play!
Since 1974, the Rhode Island Lottery has paid over $57 billion in prizes and contributed over $8 billion to Rhode Island's general fund. Your Rhode Island Lottery, a good play for 50 years and counting.